As we were driving along the street the other day, going by some, manholes, what do they call them nowadays? So sewer holes. There's a guy threading some stuff underneath. I was telling him, I'm like, look, he's snaking. Because at home when your pipe has a clog, you could thread something underneath. You turn around and around, thread it underneath. I've snaked myself. I think I'm an expert now. Well, I've done it a few times. One time not successful, but it is beyond how long my snake was. The other time, it seemed to work. But it's like, he's not snaking. I don't think he's doing that. He's probably doing something like laying wire or something. I don't think you snake a sewer pipe. Just doesn't make any sense. But I was thinking about the idea of professional versus amateur. Like, I'm an amateur, or whatever you call me at home, right? And then you have the professionals doing stuff. And then you have the handyman. So professionals do stuff quickly. They have all their specialized equipment that we don't have. And then they're doing this all day long. They have great experience. So, you may take hours to fix something that the plumber takes, 15 minutes and charges you an hour for, right? But is there a difference between professionals and just people like me? Of course, right? We all agree. They're just better at it. And where do these people in between come? It's interesting because we're hiring a handyman to do our work in a house, and it's so much cheaper, but the quality isn't great. But the thing is, we don't expect it to be great, right? When you're hiring a professional, how good are they supposed to be as well? Are they supposed to make it perfect? Because you look at construction. My dad was in construction before architecture. And the people who do stuff in construction are professionals, by definition. But his point is, they don't do stuff perfectly. And it's the architect or someone coming by who says, hey, do it over. Isn't that funny? They still don't do stuff perfectly. They do stuff shoddily sometimes. Why is that? They're just people like you and me, right? Do we always do our job perfectly? Do we skimp, cut some corners sometimes? And I feel that's a very interesting thing. It's not so much about professional versus amateur, how good a job you do. If you watch a cooking show called Cooks and Cons, it's about professional cooks competing on a show versus people who are con artists, who aren't actually professional cooks. They do something like realtor in their job, and they just do it cooking for fun. And the judges, who are all chefs well-versed in the field, try to distinguish who is who, right? And sometimes the cons are just so good, they can't tell. Because it's not about the skill, right? Being professional. I think if you really want to define what a normal, common, average person defines a professional, they mean they do a good, clean, finished job. And I think that's not so much about your skill in a sense. It somewhat is, but many people have good enough skill level. It's about your attention to detail, whether you redo it if it hasn't reached that quality level that you desire. And so I think that's really interesting, because you have people making furniture who are not professionals, who do it for fun, and they do a great job. And you have people who are professionals, and sometimes their job's not so great, right? So it's not so much about professional or not. It's about your idea of quality control. What level you expect from yourself, and how much effort you're going to put into doing it. And that's why some people who do their own work on a house can do a better job than the professionals, because they're invested.